Hello, gooners. I'm just kidding. When this event came out, there was a lot of discourse from inside and outside of the fandom. Everyone was losing their minds over these tweets. I was too busy to make a rant video when all this happened, but I still got some things to say. I don't want to beat a dead horse since everyone and their mother have talked about this topic, so I will try to keep my 2 cents short. First of all, the word gooner is so overused that it has lost its meaning. Also, why do we care about an opinion from some out-of-touch group of people who shames women for destigmatizing periods? That's what this game is doing. There's a whole article in-game about period facts. The game and the characters are constantly telling us that it's nothing to be ashamed about. It is bizarre how some men get uncomfortable when women enjoy games aimed at the female gaze, especially when the game is explicitly catering to us. Yes, this game does sexualize men, and it is directed towards the female gaze. And if that makes me a gooner for enjoying it, whatever the fuck gooning means these days, then sure, yeah. I'm a gooner. Guys, just remember, as long as your enjoyment of the game does not interfere with your ability to lead a healthy, functional life and isn't harming anyone, don't let these comments get to you. Men face no backlash for enjoying fanservice in games, yet when women do the same, it's frowned upon. It's fucking bullshit. And you know what? Let people say what they want. Call it a gooner game. It doesn't change the fact that this game is doing very well with intricate lore, deep storytelling, and well-written characters. It doesn't change the fact that there's more to the game than just gooning material, otherwise my channel wouldn't exist. Unfortunately, as Love in Deepspace continues to grow and attract more attention, we can expect more comments like this. So I'm not telling you to get used to it, but don't be surprised when we see more dumb comments like this in the future. Okay, with that out of the way, I can stop fangirling about this banner. So we didn't get a fluffy lovey-dovey card for Valentine's this year, unlike last year. I suspect that they're saving that for May 20th, the unofficial Valentine's Day in China. And I really want to applaud the creative team behind this first alternate universe banner, the different animations that we get when we unlock their trust, and the different voice lines when we interact with them.
I wonder what sort of expressions those LCBI agents would make if they knew I was the one who trained you.
And oh my god, the music. They really set the bar super high for this banner and this event. There was so much to do and so many interactions with all the love interests. My favorite part for this event has to be this.
Silus. Do you want to be my greatest achievement this year? Silus, just you wait. I'll show you.
As always, the voice actors delivered brilliantly, and I hope they're getting paid handsomely. All the cards for this banner were longer than usual, almost an hour long. And there's 2 different endings, which was new, and I love that we get a good and a bad ending. Despite how steamy and sexually suggestive the trailer and the Kindled Moments for this banner feel, the story runs really deep. It dives into corruption, power imbalances, and politics. For their first alternate universe banner, this is pretty damn good. And while it stands on its own, it also serves as a reflection of the main timeline. If you've been following along, you know that the devs of Love in Deepspace doesn't just throw stuff out randomly. Each piece of this game's narrative is meticulously placed. Nothing is ever just thrown in there randomly. And that includes the title of this banner, Catch-22. That term itself, originally coined by Joseph Heller, describes a paradoxical situation from which there's no escape because of contradictory rules. In the context of our game, it perfectly captures the dilemmas and impossible choices our characters face. First the 1984 George Orwell BB is watching reference, and now this? I feel like the devs really love to take inspiration from classic literature. If you watched my Yapping to Connect the Dots video, I talked about how the storylines and the myths in the game is happening all at once across parallel universes. I forgot to include an in-game article that actually confirmed this concept of multiple realities. It discusses how different versions of realities, influenced by dark energy and space-time distortions, coexist, confirming the existence of alternate dimensions and universes in the game's lore. This brings us perfectly into this banner, tomorrow's Catch-22. This banner plunges us into an apocalyptic alternate universe where Linkon City is a metropolis of sin and debauchery, split into 2. The Northern District and the Southern District. where the northern district is the nicer part of Linkon, and the southern is where people struggle to survive and filled with predators. Predators are highly aggressive individuals prone to entering a frenzied state. So I forgot to mention something important. Predators can infect others through bites, but our main character is completely immune to this. An RMC is an enforcer for the LCBI, Linkon City Bureau of Investigation, the equivalent of the Hunters Association in this alternate universe. So her work involves catching predators and bringing them to justice. Just like in the main story, the main villain of this alternate universe is Ever, as they were the ones who created these predators. All of our love interests are predators, and their frenzied state is what we see in the Kindled Moments or cutscenes of this banner. Each love interest ended up on the LCBI's radar for different reasons, and they all have their own predator codename. And when I say this game doesn't just place things randomly, they really don't. The codenames reflect each love interest's persona and the role they take part in, both in this alternate universe and in the main story. Now, because I don't want this video to be freaking 10 hours long, I'm not going to retell the entire plot of each card, but I am going to talk about them briefly and the things that stood out to me the most. So if you haven't seen these cards yet, please go watch them. They're insanely good. So we're going to talk about Xavier first. His codename is Hermit, which I think perfectly encapsulates him. So in tarot, the Hermit is often depicted as a lone figure carrying a lantern, symbolizing his search for truth. That's exactly what Xavier does. In the main story, he traveled to the past, betrayed his own people, and was eventually hated by his time travel team, the Backtrackers. He exists outside of time itself, wandering through different timelines, carrying knowledge no one else understands, and existing in isolation because of it. And in this banner, just like the Hermit, he operates by himself, detached from any group or ideology. He isn't actively seeking power or territory. He moves on his own terms. This alternate universe takes his character and amplifies it. By day, Xavier is a rich, rookie investigator at the LCBI, easily pushed around because of his status as a newbie. Well, more like he lets people push him around. And by night, he is Hermit, a wanted predator responsible for high-profile killings. Just like in the main story where he walks the fine line between Xavier and Lumiere, he's doing the same thing in this alternate universe, balancing between Xavier, the LCBI rookie, and Hermit, the wanted predator. Just like in the main story, Xavier is the heir of Philo, a financial powerhouse that rivals Ever. And just like in the main story, Xavier casually throws money around like it means nothing because he's freaking rich, and he's been secretly helping our main character all along. As Hermit, he's been feeding her anonymous clues through emails, guiding her towards the truth buried beneath Linkon City's corruption. Next is Rafayel as Tamino. Okay, I didn't find much on Tamino at first, but after digging a little, I realized it's a reference to Mozart's opera, The Magic Flute. Yes, that very famous opera. You've probably seen or heard this before. So this aria is from The Magic Flute, the same opera Tamino is from. And Tamino is the protagonist of this opera, a prince who undergoes a series of trials to prove himself worthy of enlightenment and love. Rafayel is an opera singer before he turned into a predator, which already makes this reference feel intentional, but it goes even deeper. The Magic Flute is filled with themes of transformation, struggle, and the pursuit of truth. And Tamino himself is a noble figure who is tested through trials that shape his fate. And if we look at Rafayel, his story also revolves around transformation and trials. He was once a noble and righteous figure, a Lemurian god of the sea, but his circumstances pushed him into something much darker. His descent into becoming a predator in this alternate universe could parallel how trials, whether external or internal, can reshape a person completely. When our main character first met him, he's not the elegant performer he once was. He's being held captive by the LCBI, used as a test subject in their experiment to develop anti-predator robots. She was assigned to supervise him, observing him as he endured trial after trial, forced to fight against machines designed to exterminate his kind. But despite everything, Rafayel is still Rafayel. The sass, the sharp tongue, the playful arrogance.
Oh, your eyes are working. You must be mute then. Has the LCBI lowered its standards. If you don't have any money, forget I even asked.
It's still there. And I loved how his voice is slightly lower for this card. He sounds so different from the Rafayel we're used to hearing. The voice actor did such a good job. I love his voice here. He lived in our main character's apartment under LCBI's surveillance, and when he realized how deep the corruption ran, he made his stance clear, offering to take out the higher-ups himself. When the experiments on Rafayel became too much and he was starting to struggle to pass the trials, our MC couldn't stand to watch him suffer any longer. She did the only thing she could. She staged his death and helped him escape. After disappearing, he re-emerged as Tamino, the leader of the Predator organization, Flow and Fire, fighting back against the system that tried to destroy him. Next is Zayne as Galen, and I think this name is so fitting for him. Galen is a reference to Claudius Galen, or Galenus. Galenus? Claudius Galenus? I don't know.
Claudius Galenus.
One of the most influential physicians of ancient history, whose work shaped medicine for centuries. Claudius Galen was a surgeon, a philosopher, and a researcher, obsessed with understanding the human body. Galen's theories defined early medicine but were later challenged and misused, just like Zayne's research, which was stolen both in the main story and in this alternate universe. Much like Galen, Zayne carries knowledge that should have saved people, but instead it has only burdened him with the weight of what he couldn't prevent. If that doesn't scream Zayne, I don't know what does. Also, can we talk about this for a second?
Silence! This is the punishment for not learning to keep your mouth shut.
I am so happy Infold decided to explore an alternate universe because we get to see this whole other side of Zayne. If they only ever made banners based on their base character versions from the main story, we never would have gotten this. His facial expressions here, I love it. I love it. I love it so much. In this alternate universe, Zayne is an underground doctor and a warden of a Predator prison, and he is a serial killer, earning the codename Galen for the high-profile figures he's eliminated. Political leaders, business tycoons, and predators who have lost their minds, Galen have been quietly wiping them out across Linkon. And that's how he's caught the LCBI's attention. Just like in the main story, his research was stolen by Ever. They took it and twisted it for their own gain. In this alternate universe, the LCBI is profiting off the very virus that turned people into monsters, using it as a tool to maintain control. When our main character gets too close to the truth, she's framed by the LCBI and thrown into prison because they don't want her to uncover what they're actually up to. And Zayne, despite everything, never stops looking for a cure. And in the end, he finds it. He recovers his stolen research and discovers a way to reverse the disease. Next is Silus, and his codename is Tartarus. Since his release, Silus has been associated with underworld themes. Hades, Tartarus, it's been subtly present in the game's visuals, hinting that this wasn't just a random code name, it was always a part of his character's foundation. In Greek mythology, Tartarus isn't just a place, it's a prison, a void, a force that consumes everything thrown to it. It's where the gods cast away the unwanted and those deemed too dangerous to exist, and that fits Silus perfectly. In the main story, he rules the N109 zone, a ruined, lawless wasteland left behind after Ever's experiments decimated it. But despite his fearsome reputation, Silus isn't just a ruthless crime lord. He provides refuge to those cast aside by society, giving them a place to belong and offering them protection. Like Luke and Kieran and the guy from the Gaia Research Center, Philip. I just want to take a moment to appreciate this clip of him humming the Opposing Visions song. And him saying this.
Special Enforcer. You look good in that uniform.
Silus's voice actor, whoever you are, thank you so much for existing. I thank your ancestors and your parents for birthing you into the world. He did an amazing job for this banner, and all the Silus mains are being fed so well. And maybe I'm biased, but out of all the love interests, I think this hairstyle suits him the best. In this alternate universe, he's the leader of Nightstrix, a gang from the Southern District that's shaking up Linkon's entire power structure. He got on the LCBI's radar as Tartarus because of his involvement in their election, an election that he's actively disrupting. He's also Ever's most wanted, constantly hunted but always one step ahead. Silus and our main character's bond in this alternate universe runs deep. He met her when she was younger, before he became the leader of Nightstrix, and took her under his wing. They lived together for years, until the night he vanished. Ever had discovered our main character's immunity, and to protect her, he blew up their lab in retaliation. And that night he blew up their lab, is also the night he turned into a predator, and that's when he became Tartarus. He disappeared for her, but she never stopped looking for him. Our main character became a hunter to track him down, and when they finally reunited, it was across an interrogation table because he let himself be arrested. His imprisonment was a part of his plan all along. So they worked together to expose Everscript on Linkon City and take down Linkon's mayor, an ever-controlled puppet. Next is Caleb as Perses. In Greek mythology, Perses is a titan associated with destruction and ruin. His name literally means to lay waste or to ravage, which already makes this an eerily fitting choice for Caleb. Whether it's the calculated authority he wields as a high-ranking government official in this alternate universe, or the raw weaponized destruction forced upon him by Ever in the main story, Caleb is a man shaped by power, yet never truly in control of his own fate. In this alternate universe, Caleb is a councilman, a high-ranking government official, investigating a crime scene where another official were killed. Just like in the main story, Caleb and our main character grew up together in the Southern District. Despite their deep bond as childhood friends, they keep a professional distance in public, but behind closed doors, their connection remains as strong as ever. There was a period of time when they were separated, and during those years apart, Caleb became a predator. In an attempt to keep others safe, he isolated himself, but Ever found him. Just like in the main story, where they pulled him from the wreckage of an explosion and turned him into their weapon, they made him a test subject, using him for their research on predators. Caleb remained in a frenzied state for a long time, but eventually he regained control, and he climbed the ranks, becoming both a high-ranking government official and a predator of the highest rank, ruling over the chaotic underground world while maintaining his position within the government. The name Perses isn't just about destruction, it's about control over destruction. He's not just another predator, he's the highest ranking one, and a force that both dominates and manages the fractured underworld. In this alternate universe and the main story, Caleb is always balancing on the edge, caught between his own monstrous power and the desperate will to not let it consume him. And the tension in this card is unreal. Infold is hyping the Caleb girlies up because I know the moment we get his first kissing card, the Caleb girlies are gonna go nuts. Also, they did not hold back on the toxic, creepy stalker yandere vibes in this card. He's been watching our main character through surveillance cameras all this time. Though, to be fair, RMC did put a tracker on him in Homecoming Wings, so I guess the creepiness kind of evens out a little bit. And this is a bit unrelated, but this background of this scene low-key reminds me of this from Mystic Messenger. Caleb always shows up when our main character's in a pinch and somehow knows exactly where she is. In Homecoming Wings and in his cards, even our main character was like, how the hell did you find me? And how the hell did you get here so fast? It's not a stretch to theorize that he's been doing this all along in the main timeline too. Maybe we'll actually get to see this stalker scene in his branch. I really do hope we see that, because can you imagine the drama? Every single one of these cards adds another layer to their characters, tying them directly to their main story struggles. I am obsessed with how much detail went into these alternate universe version of them. Seriously, go watch these cards. You need to experience both of the endings for yourself. This is just my opinion, but I think Silus's bad ending is the saddest one. So there are some things in this alternate universe banner that really stood out to me, and I can't help but wonder if the devs are hinting that this might happen in the main story too. In Zayne's card, it was mentioned that the LCBI, the equivalent of the Hunters Association in the main story, is working with Ever. And in Rafayel's card, the LCBI straight up disregarded our main character's safety, forcing her to live with a predator who could have ended her life at any moment. Now, we know that the members of the Hunters Association like Jenna, Tara, Simone, and Nero genuinely care about our main character and have her back. But what about the organization itself? Remember in my Ever video when I pointed out how suspicious it is that her division in the association is named Unicorn, the same nickname they gave her at the Gaia Research Center, the name that was used when these people were experimenting on her and killing her over and over again. I seriously think that it's possible that the Hunters Association could be compromised. We already saw how the Far Space Fleet was infiltrated and turned into a tool for Ever. Who's to say the Hunters Association isn't next? Because Ever runs everything. And I know I'm repeating myself, but I was seriously so impressed by how rich the story is for this banner. The intricate world building, the attention to detail in the character designs, and the fact that it has two endings makes it feel like I don't know, as a long-time Otome player, it makes me feel right at home. Honestly, this just makes me even more excited for future events. Did you guys enjoy this banner and event as much as I did? If you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Please leave a like if you want, and consider subscribing if you enjoy my content. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Bye!